First question, have you actually met Jim and been into any of the colleges to which you've applied?
Somebody's been in our interview session. Most of the winners that are here today remember that question very well.
Back in '75, when Dr. Briggs approached you and your group to do what you have done, what were your thoughts then when this came up and he said, "Can you do this? You will do it."
Is it going to be Schendling, or are we going to have a more expensive vodka? No, true. I was brand new in Kiwanis, and Dr. Briggs and I, through time when I sat as pro tem judge in criminal court, he had been a witness in a case regarding methadone clinics. And we had also worked in Boy Scouts together because when he was involved, he asked me to get involved and create the inner city scouting, which now exists. And so we had been good friends, and when he called, I was brand new, and he said, "We've got some outstanding people." I saw that Wade Rubik just came in, and Wade and Bob, and I'm sorry that Nolan Allen isn't here. We're going to sit down and talk about this new concept. Well, what a great idea. What a great idea. It was limited, very limited. We didn't have much money, and we certainly didn't do any of the things we do today, and the interviews didn't take 12 hours. I bet the members of our committee are glad to hear that. But it started out very small, and I think, $1,500 I think we gave away, and this year we gave away $41,000. So there have been some changes. We have about 45 members of our committee. Back then we had 6.
First year, you actually gave out $2,700 in 1976, and to date, this organization has given out $700,000 in scholarships.
In reality, we have been very lucky in having a good foundation, with good foundation people from our club who have believed in this program and have seen it through. And while I've had to argue a few times, as some of you with smiles on your faces recognize, but we have gotten it to 41,000. So maybe it'll be 50 next year.
Is there a milestone in those years, some one year that you look at and say, boy, this one really stands out? I know there was one year in which it became the Abe Lincoln Scholarship Luncheon, and I know that you increased the amount of scholarship money that you're quite good at. Is there any milestone that fits in there?
Don Steele was the president following my presidency, and Don said, you've got to absolutely continue with Abe Lincoln. And so we changed some things. We used to have speakers. We had the governor one year, we had the mayor one year. And I went to the committee, and I'm sure as all of you recognize, it's not one person. It's a group of people, and that's why we've been successful. And almost without exception, their heart has been in it. And I came to him and I said, look, how about doing away with speakers? Let's do the entire banquet focused on our kids. And I've got some ideas, and I'd like to put them forth and see what you think. Certainly, this is when Deion Willis, who, frankly, both of you have been friends for some years, and I knew that perhaps we could put a little touch, a little professional touch. And we did change the format, and we did emphasize our kids, and we've never changed, thank God. And I've got the man that's going to follow me, Steve Williams, sitting there. I can't begin to tell you, he has heart, and I know it's going to continue as good as we hope we have been. Well, at least we've made the front page the last 5 years. That's not too bad.
There was a point in time in which you did change the format for awarding scholarships somewhat. It used to be that candidates who had medical challenges were the ones that you honored, and now that has been expanded, of course, for quite some time to include other challenges too. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, our committee it comes from a lot of walks of life. Judge Orbison sitting there, for instance, we have judiciary. Pete Despicas, who is a lawyer, and I brought him on to the club, our first Abe Lincoln, and I got a private secret. We got the second one coming in because I talked to her today, but I won't tell anybody until she signs that application. We recognize that within our community, we were seeing difficulties in a social environmental framework, such that some of the stories that we were beginning to hear were just tragic. And they brought tears to your eyes. You went in the interviews and you couldn't help but not have tears. I don't care how macho you wanted to be. And so we said, why don't we change it? Why don't we continue with the medical, which I think is very good, but let's add a new dimension. And let's go into the social economic problem. Today we're about 50-50 in our nominees. And of course, we don't select the nominees, the schools do.
We've talked about what you've done for others and all this, but what is this program, 35 years being involved in, what has it meant to you?
Where's my granddaughter when I need her? It's a labor of love. We all believe in it. We believe that the kids benefit. And I think that's one of the reasons why there are few, if any, of our members that do not want to re-up for the coming year. That's why we have between 40 and 45 every year. A couple of years, we actually had a problem. We had to have a waiting list because too many people wanted to serve on the committee, which was a wonderful thing, but you can only go so far. So what has it done? Much more for us, certainly more for me, than it has for perhaps the kids, but I hope we've done a lot for the kids as well. I call them kids, but they'll always be kids to me because I've watched them grow up, even Peter. And that goes back so many years ago.
I don't know if you've heard of this award before. It's called the Circle of Valor. If you've heard of that award. I would, on behalf of Kiwanis, I'm going to read what it says, but on behalf of Kiwanis, this is yours and well deserved. It reads, due to your tireless commitment for over 3 decades, the Abe Lincoln Scholarship Program has recognized scores of deserving high school students for their strength, their character, their courage in overcoming adversity on their way to achieving personal success. Under your chairmanship, from 1986 to 2011, this program has grown into a fitting showcase of what is the very best in our community's young people. The Kiwanis Club of Indianapolis expresses its gratitude for your leadership. You indeed have earned your place to stand in the Circle of Valor with those students whose interest you have held foremost during your service to this program. For Jim Blythe. Now we promised you the last word, so last words.
I'm going to sit, if you don't mind. I really want to say thank you to everyone that's here. Shocked and gratified to see such good friends, other clubs, friends, certainly my students are my students. They feel like my students. Some of our successes, our governor, old friends, members of our committee. Larry and Carlos, Larry Wickett was my chairman for membership in the year that we hit the highest mark in membership in the history of Kiwanis, which has yet to be matched. And Larry's a minister, retired. Well, he says he's retired. He's been to 6 different retired times in churches. Carlos was with the Presbyterian. And just good friends. Came all the way from New Mexico, and I'm so pleased. Some of the rest of you that have really served at different times, you know, when like Chris walked in, and immediately I remember when she was on TV with me, they had asked us to be on IPS and be on TV. And they introduced me and they said a couple of things, and Chris took over, and I thought, boy, we've got a poster child here. I mean, she told the world what Abe Lincoln had done and what she thought of it, and I thought, you know, isn't that wonderful? And, you know, the beautiful voice of our young lady, and just each of you, you know, different, each year was different. Nancy Hirschman back there, my God, the number of times I bet she'd like to have gotten rid of me. She was our office secretary for all those years, and really, you know, she was truly an exec. She took care of where the holes were missed. And Steve Teagarden sitting back there, he was co-chair for a while, and then Steve Willen, who I've already said is going to do a wonderful job. Just looking around the room, I am overwhelmed. I'm most appreciative. Those who came to me originally know that I absolutely fought this. I said, this is not what I was here for. I'm just pleased that we're able to turn it over into good hands, and that this program will continue, and I certainly will be here to help it. But isn't it neat to hear the stories of our successes? This has been a good thread for the Kiwanis Club of Indianapolis. And for all of you who are not members, let me just tell you that this is what this club's all about. And it's why in 1975, when I had a chance to join another club that goes around in circles, I actually decided the invitation to Kiwanis because of what they were doing with children. And I hope that we continue to do that and we stay in that fashion. Again, thank you so much. If I haven't said hi to you, you can feel free to come up. I'm not going anywhere.